A life begun in shadow, Van Gogh's early years were marked by a profound sense of solitude and introspection. Vincent Van Gogh's life, though tragically short, was intensely lived, filled with moments of deep emotional and psychological turmoil. He was born on March 30th, 1853, in Zundert, a small village in the southern Netherlands, to a family that would shape much of his early worldview. The family's life was steeped in the somber atmosphere of the Dutch countryside, a place where the beauty of nature was intertwined with the harsh realities of rural existence. His father was a pastor, and religion played a large role in their daily routine, instilling in Vincent a sense of duty and a deep moral compass. Vincent was a quiet child, often lost in his own thoughts, preferring the company of his imagination to that of other children. Vincent's childhood was marked by a sense of displacement, a feeling that he never quite belonged, which was exacerbated by his introspective nature. He felt like an outsider, even within his own family, a sentiment that would follow him throughout his life. He struggled to connect with others, finding it difficult to form lasting friendships or to feel understood by those around him. This feeling of isolation would later become a recurring theme in his life and art, influencing the way he saw the world and expressed himself through his work. Nature, however, provided him solace, a refuge from the complexities and disappointments of human relationships. He spent hours wandering the fields and forests surrounding his home, finding peace and inspiration in the natural world. The young Van Gogh's sensitivity was apparent early on, as he was deeply moved by the sights and sounds of the countryside. He was deeply affected by the beauty and suffering he observed in the world around him, a duality that would later be reflected in his art. These early experiences of nature's raw power and the hardships of rural life would later find profound expression in his art, as he sought to capture the essence of the human condition. Van Gogh's early years were formative, shaping the man who would become one of the world's most celebrated artists, known for his emotional depth and unique perspective. His early adulthood was no less turbulent, marked by a series of personal and professional struggles that would test his resilience. Van Gogh drifted from one job to another, searching for a sense of purpose and direction in a world that often seemed indifferent to his talents. He tried his hand at art dealing, teaching, and even preaching, but nothing seemed to stick, leaving him feeling more lost and disillusioned. This period of searching and uncertainty ultimately led him to his true calling, art, a passion that would consume him and give his life a profound sense of meaning. It was a path that would consume him for the next decade of his life, driving him to create some of the most iconic and emotionally resonant works of art the world has ever seen. The Hague and the Draw of Realism, Seeds of an Artist. In 1881, Van Gogh made a decisive move to The Hague. He was determined to become an artist. He immersed himself in his work, drawing inspiration from the works of Dutch masters like Rembrandt. He was particularly drawn to realism. This style focused on portraying everyday life and people with honesty and directness. Van Gogh was a dedicated student of art. He spent countless hours practicing his drawing skills. He filled sketchbooks with studies of hands, feet, and faces. He believed that mastering these fundamentals was crucial to becoming a great artist. He was also drawn to the depiction of laborers and the working class. He saw beauty and dignity in their everyday struggles. He began to experiment with different techniques, using dark, earthy tones to capture the somber mood of his surroundings. His paintings from this period, like the Potato Eaters, reflect this early style. They're characterized by their heavy brushstrokes and a palette dominated by browns, greens, and greys. His art, however, was met with little critical or commercial success. This lack of recognition did little to deter him. He was driven by an inner passion and a belief in his own vision. He continued to paint with unwavering dedication. Color emerges from darkness to light in Nuenen. This transformation is not just a metaphor for the changing hues on his canvas, but also a reflection of Van Gogh's evolving artistic journey. Van Gogh's artistic journey took a significant turn when he moved to Nuenen in 1883. The quaint village, with its serene landscapes and rustic charm, provided the perfect backdrop for his burgeoning creativity. Here, surrounded by the rural landscapes of his youth, he began to experiment more boldly with color. The fields, trees, and simple life of the villagers inspired him to explore new techniques and perspectives. His palette lightened, and his brushstrokes became more expressive. The once muted tones of his earlier works gave way to vibrant colours that captured the essence of the world around him. It was during this period that he painted one of his first masterpieces, The Potato Eaters. This painting, with its raw depiction of peasant life, marked a significant milestone in his career. This powerful work, depicting a family of peasants gathered around a meagre meal, showcased his growing command of light and shadow. The interplay of light and dark in this piece highlighted the harsh realities of rural life. He was fascinated by the effects of light and color on objects and landscapes. This fascination drove him to study the way light interacted with different surfaces and textures. He began to incorporate brighter hues into his work, experimenting with the interplay of complementary colors. This experimentation allowed him to create more dynamic and visually striking compositions. He moved away from the dark, somber tones of his earlier works, embracing a more vibrant palette. This shift not only reflected his changing artistic style, but also his evolving outlook on life. Van Gogh's time in Nguyen was a period of intense artistic exploration. He immersed himself in his work, often painting for hours on end, driven by an insatiable desire to capture the beauty of his surroundings. He produced a large body of work, including landscapes, still lifes, and portraits. Each piece was a testament to his growing skill and his deepening understanding of color and light. He also began to develop his signature technique of impasto, applying thick layers of paint to the canvas to create texture and depth. This technique added a tactile quality to his work, making his paintings almost three-dimensional. Despite his artistic progress, Van Gogh remained isolated and lonely. The solitude of Nguyen, while inspiring, also deepened his sense of alienation. His art, which he poured his heart and soul into, failed to find an audience. The lack of recognition was a constant source of frustration and despair for him. The lack of recognition fueled his inner turmoil. He often questioned his own abilities and the value of his work. It also strengthened his resolve to stay true to his unique artistic vision. Despite the challenges, Van Gogh's time in Nguyen was a period of profound growth and transformation, both as an artist and as an individual. Brotherly bonds. Theo, the constant anchor. Throughout his tumultuous life, Vincent had one constant source of support, his younger brother Theo. From their early years, Theo was always there for Vincent, providing a sense of stability and unwavering belief in his brother's potential. Theo, an art dealer, believed in Vincent's talent from the start. He recognized the unique vision and emotional depth in Vincent's work, even when others failed to see it. He provided him with financial support, allowing Vincent to dedicate himself fully to his art. This financial backing was crucial as it enabled Vincent to purchase supplies, travel, and focus on his creative endeavors without the constant worry of financial instability. Their relationship went far beyond the typical sibling bond. They shared a deep and profound connection that was rooted in mutual respect and admiration. They were confidants, sharing their dreams, fears, and aspirations through a series of heartfelt letters. These letters, exchanged over many years, reveal the depth of their relationship and the intensity of their emotional and intellectual exchanges. Theo offered not just financial aid but also emotional support, encouraging Vincent during times of self-doubt and artistic frustration. He was a pillar of strength, always ready to lift Vincent's spirits and remind him of his worth. These letters provide an invaluable window into Van Gogh's creative process and inner world. They offer insights into his thoughts, his struggles, and his relentless pursuit of artistic excellence. They reveal a man of great sensitivity, intelligence, and unwavering dedication to his craft. Vincent's letters to Theo are filled with reflections on his art, his inspirations, and his relentless quest for beauty and meaning. The letters are filled with discussions about art, literature, and philosophy, reflecting Van Gogh's wide-ranging intellectual curiosity. They show a man deeply engaged with the world around him, constantly seeking to understand and interpret it through his art. Theo's unwavering belief in Vincent's talent provided the struggling artist with much-needed validation. This belief was a lifeline for Vincent, who often faced harsh criticism and rejection from the art world. He was a constant source of encouragement, urging Vincent to persevere despite the rejections and setbacks. Theo's faith in his brother's abilities never wavered, even when Vincent himself doubted his path. Their bond, forged in mutual love and respect, sustained Vincent through some of the darkest chapters of his life. This deep connection was a beacon of hope and strength for Vincent, guiding him through his most challenging times. Theo's support went beyond words. He took active steps to promote Vincent's work, leveraging his position as an art dealer to introduce his brother's paintings to a wider audience. He actively promoted Vincent's work, trying to secure exhibitions and find buyers. Theo's efforts were tireless, as he sought to ensure that Vincent's genius would be recognized and appreciated. Sadly, Vincent's art found little commercial success during his lifetime. Despite Theo's best efforts, the world was not yet ready to embrace Vincent's revolutionary style and vision. It was only after his death that Theo's tireless efforts would bear fruit, securing Vincent's place among the titans of art history. Today, Vincent van Gogh is celebrated as one of the greatest artists of all time, a testament to both his extraordinary talent and Theo's unwavering support. Vincent van Gogh's time in Arles was marked by his friendship with fellow artist Paul Gauguin. Their relationship was both inspiring and tumultuous, leading to some of Van Gogh's most famous works. Despite their differences, their time together in the Yellow House in Arles was a period of intense creativity and artistic exchange. When Vincent invited Gauguin to join him in Arles, he envisioned the Yellow House as a haven for artists, a place where they could live and work together, pushing the boundaries of their art. Gauguin's arrival in October 1888 brought a surge of energy and inspiration. The two artists spent their days painting side by side, each influencing the other's style and technique. Their collaboration produced a remarkable body of work. Vincent's Sunflowers series, created to decorate Gauguin's room, stands as a testament to their shared artistic vision. Gauguin, in turn, painted some of his most renowned pieces during this time, including The Painter of Sunflowers, a portrait of Van Gogh himself. However, their differing temperaments led to frequent clashes. Vincent's intense passion for art and his often erratic behavior contrasted sharply with Gauguin's more detached and critical approach. These differences eventually culminated in a dramatic confrontation, leading to Gauguin's departure from Arles in December 1888. The aftermath of their split was devastating for Vincent. The emotional turmoil contributed to his infamous mental breakdown, during which he cut off part of his ear. This period of intense personal suffering, however, did not diminish his creative spirit. In the months that followed, Vincent continued to produce some of his most iconic and emotionally charged works. The time in Arles, though fraught with tension, was a crucible of creativity for Van Gogh. The friendship and rivalry with Gauguin pushed him to new heights, resulting in a legacy that continues to captivate and inspire. Even in the face of personal despair, Vincent's dedication to his art remained unshaken. His time in the Yellow House, marked by both brilliance and heartbreak, is a poignant chapter in the story of a man whose genius was only fully recognized after his death. As Vincent van Gogh's journey continued, his artistic evolution did not go unnoticed. Deeply influenced by the Impressionists, Van Gogh absorbed their techniques and philosophies, yet he transcended their boundaries to forge his own unique path. His works, characterized by bold colors and emotive brushstrokes, placed him squarely in the realm of Post-Impressionism. This period saw Van Gogh channeling his tumultuous emotions directly onto the canvas, creating pieces that resonated deeply with the human experience. Van Gogh's ability to convey intense emotion through his art set him apart from his contemporaries. His paintings became a window into his soul, capturing the raw essence of his inner world. This profound emotional expression later became a cornerstone of the Expressionist movement, profoundly influencing artists who came after him. Artists like Edvard Munch and Oskar Kokoschka found inspiration in Van Gogh's fearless portrayal of human suffering and joy. Munch's iconic work, The Scream, echoes Van Gogh's intense emotionality, while Kokoschka's vibrant, dynamic style can be traced back to Vincent's groundbreaking approach. Though Van Gogh's life was cut tragically short, his legacy endures. His influence extends far beyond his own era, bridging the gap between Impressionism and Expressionism. Vincent's journey, marked by both brilliance and hardship, carved a path for future generations of artists to explore the depths of their own emotions through their art. In the end, Van Gogh's story is one of resilience and enduring impact. His unwavering dedication to his craft, despite personal struggles, has left an indelible mark on the world of art. Through his masterpieces, Vincent van Gogh continues to inspire and move us, reminding us of the profound power of art to express the inexpressible.